Have you been speaking into the microphone lately? I think you did a bit better with that last week, didn't you?
You tell me.
I think you did, because I did actually play it back.
Do you? Wait, was it a good podcast?
I think it was alright.
All right, you're the expert on framing. How are we framed? Can't make a silk purse out of a sow's ear, that sort of thing?
I think not bad.
We're looking alright.
About as good as it's going to get.
A couple of 40-year-old white guys hanging out in
Exactly.
West Auckland, having a couple
podcast.
of talking and talking rugby, having a couple of beers.
Exactly.
Rugby.
We love podcasts. Everyone's got a podcast. I was just saying that to you off camera. Half of my YouTube feed is like podcasts with 10 views for some reason. YouTube is like, this man needs more podcasts in his life.
Yeah, I think I get that too because I watch our podcast.
Yeah, exactly. They're like, wow, if you like that shit.
Yeah. If you can
Excuse my language, but it's on my channel. I got to clean it up.
Yeah, you got to clean it up. I'm not taking the. If you do SHITs, I'm not taking that. Yeah.
Oh, that's satisfying.
That is satisfying. A beer, isn't it?
Yeah, very.
If you're in a part of the world where it's okay to have a beer right now,
Crack one open.
and have a beer too. Yeah. How
have you been, Tony? You well?
Yeah, I've been well. Let's go through rugby podcasts that you're aware of. Okay, so
There's a lot I don't know the names of.
Rugby recap with my man.
With your man Tim and
Rugby
your man
Action.
Hamish.
Yeah, and to be fair, not the biggest podcast, but quality stuff.
Exactly right.
Quality
I'll
stuff.
admit I haven't caught an episode of Rugby Recap for a little while.
Okay, well,
I don't think it was
You're
suggested
missing
to
out.
me, but I do know both of those guys personally. So
Oh.
I never met them.
Have you had sexual relations with either of them?
Not yet.
Playing your
But
cards.
don't put anything off the table.
Okay, all right. Slow playing it.
Exactly.
Great stuff. Speaking of the Kiwi lads, he put me in stitches in the weekend.
Okay, what did he do?
Because I was watching the Crusaders. They were losing to the Highlanders.
Yes.
And I wrote in the comment.
We have got the come on, Landers watching the Satyrs lose is more arousing than porn. So yeah, I'll tell you what, Tony, that's gonna kill your boner because that's gone out wide and Severis has scored it.
Crusaders scored.
The Crusaders scored right in that moment.
He's pretty sharp, isn't he?
He is. Something I hate to kill your boner, Tony. Like, just came out. Boom.
Damn.
He
Straight
is
shooter.
sharp. He is
Yeah,
sharp.
he's a good man.
Yeah.
Hamish from the Kiwi lads.
Yeah. Okay. That's a boring game talking about all the various podcasts.
There's a lot.
There are a few. And if you're listening to us, we know you have a choice of rugby podcasts.
You have so much choice. If you've ended up on this one,
You've made some poor decisions.
wow. Maybe have a good look at yourself.
Look at yourself hard.
Yeah. I wonder what you're doing with your
Where
life.
did it go wrong for you?
Exactly.
It's okay. It went
Yeah,
wrong
well,
for-
I think we probably have a point of difference.
we talk more bullshit than most other rugby podcasts.
Do we all? Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. We've barely spoken about...
We do have a distinct advantage. We have a difference in that we don't have any international players on our podcast. Maybe that's the difference. I'm sick of listening to all these guys who've actually played international rugby. There's too many of them. Give me a podcast with two guys, two fat 40-year-old New Zealanders.
We played very low-level rugby.
Exactly. There you go.
Okay. Well, you didn't play rugby at all really growing up, did you?
Only kind of just schoolyard stuff.
Schoolyard stuff?
I was a beanpole.
You still are. I hate to break it to you, sunshine.
Okay, I was.
You're a slightly thicker beanpole.
I was a very thin beanpole back in those days.
You were
I was a fast bowler. Think fast bowler. That's what I look like.
like a sort of like a Glenn McGrath.
Glenn McGrath. There you
Glenn
go.
McGrath.
Just less angry.
He's also a prick. So-
Okay, there you go. We've got that in common.
Yeah.
Oh, Glenn McGrath.
Oh, Glenn McGrath. No, I played rugby at school. Played up to the first 15. Then they started training in the holidays, and I got dropped because they didn't turn up.
Right.
But you know,
Yes.
and that was it.
Now, we used to play rugby at lunchtime. We used to play bull rush. That goes by a lot of other names around the world, but it's the game where you have to run from one side of a field to another and someone in the middle is trying to catch you.
Yeah.
And if they catch you by tackling you, then you join them as one of the
team.
catchers.
Wasn't that thing you used to say? It was a big call out. You'd be like, "All right, you pick
You
one
pick
guy
one person to run.
to run at you." So you pick
Pick the one you think you can get, the slowest.
the one you
and-
can smack.
The slowest, but not that big that you can stop them.
And then if you really want to go chaos mode, you yell bull rush.
Bull rush, and then everyone runs. Or if
Yeah.
the person makes it across, and that's also bull rush, and everyone has to run.
And there was
yeah.
always a satisfying feeling if you everyone was in and you somehow still managed to get
Exactly. So
That
yeah, I
was-
played
that was-
that. We were good, and then one of the first 15 boys would play, and I'd be like, I'm not very good. I thought I was good
Yeah.
because I'm like 6 foot plus. All my mates are these scrawny little white dudes. Not all of them. I mean, we had one big Filipino dude who was like morbidly obese
used to play
as a high school guy, and he was pretty hard to tackle.
We used to play a game where we'd put our bags into like a mountain of bags, basically, and at lunchtime, and then we would get a ball, any sort of ball, and there'd be 2 teams, and you just basically throw the ball around and like try and get it off the other team, tackle the other team. It was just, it could go anywhere, could morph anywhere around the school, basically basically on the grass.
Wow.
And then once the bell went, it was a battle to get back to the bags.
Wow.
And whoever had to get the ball back to the bags, you know, whatever team that was, won. And it would be like this massive like pile on.
Jeez.
And it would just
Sounds like that Georgian game that they play
got
between
pretty,
like 2 towns.
got pretty chaos.
Yeah,
It was quite fun. It was just like one of those organic games that sort of came out of nothing.
We had one
but
at
very
PE
rugby
time
sort of rules,
because we had to do PE class with another class, and the boys from our class would just grab basketballs and we would throw them at the boys from the other class. It was just like dodgeball, but there's no outs. You're just trying to hurt each other.
Sounds like fun.
Until they told us to stop playing that.
Yeah. What fun games did you play at school that didn't?
This is riveting.
Yeah. Came here. So much happened over the weekend. Listen to these wankers talk about inconsequential
Like they
bullshit
were
games.
athletes.
But if you had any strange games, tell us in your comments.
Yeah, what did you play at school?
But it wasn't not a traditional sport, like not even
Something
a
a bit
traditional game.
random.
Something that just sort of organically
What did the
happened.
teachers ban you guys from doing because it was too much fun?
Yeah.
Basically.
I was
Sam
about to say
Cane.
I was about to say something very inappropriate.
Sam Cane.
Sam Cane, what a man.
He's retired from
What?
international rugby.
Yeah, that's sad. That is
It's interesting
sad.
because he was contracted through to come back to New Zealand for next year.
It seems a bit strange to me. I feel like he had, like, we all know what happened in the World Cup final, and
He got a red card.
he did, and that sort of stuff.
That's probably part of the reason we lost.
Probably.
I think it's easier to win when you've got 15 players on the
Yeah,
field.
it definitely would have been an advantage. Probably would have helped us get another point or two.
Before someone gives me shit about it, he did have very poor tackling technique, which is the reason he got
Yes,
red card.
exactly. He got red carded. It wasn't an outrageous red card.
It was one that you looked at it and go, oh shit, he's in trouble. I got to
Yeah,
stop
yeah.
swearing. This is on my channel.
Exactly.
Oh, bother.
Oh, bloody hell. Can you say that?
Yeah, probably.
Okay. At the time I saw it and I was like, oh, gee, I had a horrible feeling.
Yep.
And kind of just hoping there was kind of like some sort of mitigation.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you see...
Sometimes they pull some mitigation out of nowhere.
Yeah,
You're like, oh, okay.
there's a bit of mitigation.
Yeah, exactly, but no.
But sadly, they didn't pull a
So
bit of
his
mitigation.
last action as an All Black will be being the captain who got red carded.
Not necessarily, because
He could get selected this year, you
He
think?
could get selected this year. And I feel...
Will he though?
Yeah, he's not giving himself the best chance.
Not really.
But who-
Apparently he's spoken to Razor.
Yeah, right.
And Razor was just like, that's all right, mate, you can go. Support you.
All right.
He
Okay.
understands the reasons and he supports the decision. Do you think if it was Artie Savia, Razor just goes, I support your decision, or no, come back, Artie,
It's
we
hard,
need you.
it's hard to say with Razor because Razor's such an out of the box kind of thinker. And
Yeah.
like it's all about
He
feelings.
seems to be, at least from the way the media reports it here in New Zealand, Razor seems to be absolutely jonesing to get all the Crusaders boys back. He wants Sam Whitelock back.
Yeah.
Which Sam Whitelock apparently came out and was like, no, we just had
Yeah.
a chat. Like,
He wants Moanga back.
Yeah, he wants Moanga
Moanga
back.
back.
He just wants all these Crusaders boys back. Whereas,
But I thought Sam Cane went through a torrid period with the loss to the Irish series loss, which to be in
he had a few
hindsight,
unfortunate firsts. I mean, the
Yeah.
Irish team was on the up and up at that
Yeah,
point.
yeah.
We lost to Argentina under him, I
a
believe.
couple of times.
Yeesh.
First time in New Zealand under him.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like it wasn't awful. They still had a 71% win record over the last 4 years.
Made a World Cup final.
Got to a World Cup final, played the house down in that
Mm.
semi-final, and I thought he played really well in Super Rugby last year. I thought actually 2023 was a pretty bloody good year for him rugby-wise.
Yeah, there was a lot of talk about when we went into that year. It was like, is he even as good as Dalton Papali'i? Dalton should be the starting 7, and then Sam Cane just tore it up.
Yeah, I
year.
thought he was much better than Dalton Papali'i. So I still think Dalton Papali'i can find it.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully, he could find another league or two.
Mm.
So he's not quite that level yet. I don't think. But I think it's a shame. I think there's still rugby left in that bloke.
32 years old though, is it the right time? He says it's
Pretty
basically
young.
to set up his family. So basically, ka-ching, ka-ching, take some money, going to move the family over to Japan. They're going to play for Suntory, I think, for 3 more years. So,
what do you think the psychological impact of happened to him? One thing I've been kind of impressed with New Zealanders of late after the World Cup was we're really hard on our rugby players.
Yeah.
When they muck up, we come down on them very, very hard. But I have seen very, very little anger or hatred.
There was a
towards
lot more anti-Sam Cane stuff just during his regular captaincy.
Yeah,
When
but
he
everyone-
wasn't really doing anything wrong. He was just being this grunty, hard-tackling number 7 who doesn't really give the most inspiring postman. And he put his foot in his mouth a couple of times when once he was like, well, you know, the fans sometimes get a bit miffed, but they don't see what goes on. They don't understand. Like, when you start putting it kind of us and them with the fans, you're not really going to endear yourself to anybody.
We could see the heartbreaks across his face, and I think everyone was just
Yeah,
like,
but once he got
he
that,
has to live with that.
yeah, when he got that moment, which would have been the ultimate, like, let's lay into a moment, everyone was just like, oh man, you poor guy.
Yeah, this was just an outpouring of sympathy and empathy for him,
Unfortunate.
which was actually kind of nice, because
Yes.
I kind of thought
because we've been hard on him
for years.
for years. He's definitely been one of New Zealand, because in New Zealand, I think every country has that one player that everyone's like, that guy shouldn't be in the team. Someone else should be in the team. Like, he was that guy for New Zealand for quite a while.
And but he's not going to have the same the All Black captain treatment that most past players do. Like,
That's right.
Kieran Reid as Richie McCaw,
Yeah, still
Sir
well.
Sean Fitzpatrick. You know, these guys are
Revered
armchair
and
ride. They could get
they're basically-
endorsement deals for everything forever and ever and ever. Amen.
You're
Even
still
guys
seeing-
like Colin Mead still do. You know, like
Yes.
they still get. Pine Street, did he die?
He did. I was thinking about that for a second. I was like, wait a minute. No, I'm pretty sure he's dead.
But he did though, didn't he?
Alex Wiley still keeps doing stuff. Former
Chris
West coach.
Wiley,
Yeah.
Chris Wiley still does. But these guys are even like. But then you could
They
have like.
still pop up on New Zealand TV selling like garages.
Yeah.
Usually it's farming equipment.
Yeah, a lot of farming equipment. Yeah, when the tractor breaks down, sometimes you just got to have an oil you can rely on. This is why I use sheep shagger shit.
Yeah. You guys outside New Zealand don't get these like they're quite wooden. Like these guys are great rugby players who are not really made for genuine homes. A home you can trust.
But you can just have in New Zealand. You can have like one really amazing moment that can save your career. Case in point, Beaver. Stephen Donald.
Yeah.
He's set for life just after from that
The
one
kick.
kick. And even Grant Elliott, that
Yeah.
big six that
From
he
cricket,
hit.
yeah.
Against South
He's
Africa
a
to get us into the
hero,
World Cup final.
basically.
Like, pretty, a journeyman player
Yeah.
for a lot of his career. Same with Stephen Donald.
Yeah.
And they have these big moments, and now they're revered forever.
Whereas
But I
Sam
don't think
Cane's not going to get
Sam
that.
Cane's not going to get that.
No.
So he's
got to make that money in Japan.
got to make that chin now.
Not going to sell some garages
5 short
of 100.
of the
Yeah,
century.
95 caps.
Wish him all the best, eh?
It would be nice for Razor to give him 5 caps, but that's a lot of it. That's a huge chunk of the season. The All Blacks don't get that many caps per year, and ultimately
Maybe we
he's
give
going to be
people some-
looking forward.
Maybe we give people some timestamps in this one, but because there's a lot of good Super Rugby to talk about.
Yeah.
But before we do that, what do you think the loose forward unit looks like for the All Blacks right now?
Man, there's some guys really, really playing well. Like when you were just talking about Dalton Papali'i earlier, I was thinking, wow, the one guy actually standing out in that Blues loose forward trio is Hoskins Sotutu, and he's just extended for 2 more years. Like, he didn't even make the Rugby World Cup squad. There was talk that
so good.
he's had a falling out with Ian Foster, and
so good.
To me that basically meant he's going overseas. Like, there's no way he's sticking around.
He's looking outrageous.
Yeah.
And like one of the knocks on him has been his defense, but his defense is aggressive.
Yeah, it's
and,
good.
Like, and insane. And his ball in hand, he even kicked the ball bloody.
Yeah, I know.
You almost did a 40-20, 40-20.
40-20, 60, 80, 90.
Stop turning the game into rugby league. Said by people who don't watch rugby league. 50-22. He's just an incredible athlete, and
Yep.
he seems to be more of a powerhouse at the breakdown.
Whatever
as well.
he did in the off season, it's serving him
He got,
well.
he got the butt between his teeth. That's what it looks like to
and
me.
then I think we're going to have Artie Savia back available.
So him.
So him at 7, Hoskins at 8.
Yes. Talk to me, baby.
And then who do we put in at 6? You got a few guys who can play a bit of six.
I think we've got 2 power players.
You've just got limp if you're listening to this. Tony's microphone boom arm. Just imagine a teenage boy who'd seen something very attractive, wanted to have Donald Trump walk in front of him and meow.
Exactly. Went very flaccid very quickly, that.
Nothing
Okay.
against Donald Trump, but yeah.
What was I saying?
Maybe lots against Donald Trump. Screw
Yeah,
Donald
he's
Trump.
yeah,
a bit of a
exactly.
moron.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm not a
gosh,
fan.
maybe-
I'm
Maybe
not
you
a-
should just cut this bit out. Okay, cut out the politics. I don't
Screw you,
talk-
Donald.
Donald Duck.
What were we saying? So
Who's
at
number
number
six?
6, there's a few guys.
There's a lot of
putting their
guys who
hands out.
can play a bit of
There's
stuff.
no
Like
one-
Luke Jacobson can play pretty much anywhere
Yeah.
across the back row. He's
They're
playing
like,
pretty
but
well.
the guys in the Crusaders aren't putting their hands up. Was it Grace
Blackadder
Kelly?
comes back and then he's
Blackadder's
injured
not quite
again.
there.
Yeah.
You know what?
Some of the Canes loose forwards are playing bloody well as well.
You
But they've
know
got
what-
Brad Shields playing six a lot of the time.
He's looking all right.
But he's played for England.
Oh, shit. That's irritating. Don't do that, Brad.
Yeah, exactly.
Kiriuani? No, not quite.
And that guy Braden Yorsay is having a killer season, but he's also a number 8 mainly. So
Give Signa a crack.
I don't know about
There's-
Signa.
No, Hoskins Satutu is by far and away the number 1. Like loose forward playing Super Rugby right now, in my eyes.
Form wise, yeah, but some like Luckeye for the Canes is playing well. It's a lot of
Yeah, we'll see.
a lot of good loosies.
A lot of good loosies, a lot of good outside backs as
So
well.
I don't see Sammy playing any more games. But as we said, servant
reckon
for
he
New
could-
Zealand rugby got a bit of a hard deal.
But I reckon maybe I'd be happy with either Dalton Papali, just on
Forgot about Dalton actually.
Dalton Papali or Sam Cane, to be honest. Like
Okay.
just going on
Sam Cane
2020
can play 6 as well.
Yeah,
right?
going 2023 form. Them being at 7. Chuck old Chuck our boy my brain
What about
Savia.
Akira Ioane? Is he not going to make it?
He's just too unreliable.
Hmm.
He's a number 8 for me as well. But yeah, Chuck Savia at 6 and Chuck Hoskins at number 8 and bring Akira off the bench
There you go.
to go smack someone in a legal way, not
That's
head on
right.
head.
Keep it legal.
Keep it legal. Yeah, but yeah, no, good on you, Sam. What a legend.
That was a bit of news.
Bit of sad news, but it is what it is.
Before we talk Super Rugby,
What do you want? Oh,
can we talk some rugby laws?
You know, nothing gets me hard like rugby laws.
Tony
Yes. What do you think?
was having a wee rant prior to recording.
What are you talking about? I was not having a rant. I am a person. What do you think? Okay, let's pretend we didn't have a conversation before. You destroyed
Does
the
Tony
model.
not want that conversation to be recorded?
Okay, let's have a your
Stand
conversation.
by your comments.
Yeah, okay, all right then. Let's not throw stones
Basically,
in glass houses.
They changed 3 laws in their kind of latest meeting of World Rugby in May. One of them is to get rid of croc rolls. A lot of people are kind of like, I thought they already got rid of croc rolls, but it's that kind of twisting action when guys are.
So
in
even
and
if
around
you
the
get
tackle
somebody
area,
around the ribs and stuff,
you can't like twist them out
You
of the
gotta
way.
push them forward.
That's going to be the breakdown's already very hard to police.
Very technical.
Yeah, I mean, some people say, "Oh, I thought like that's what the All Blacks got a yellow card for in the final." Remember when they got Bongi?
Yeah,
was it
yeah,
Frizzell?
Frizzell.
He got Bongi. That was more because he dropped the weight on him. You've not been able to do that
Fell
for
on
a
his
long.
leg.
Yeah, basically, you're not allowed to do that. But they've made things even stricter. I don't think many people are like, "Oh God, I want more croc rolls."
But it makes me go, oh, more laws at the breakdown.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
gosh.
the one thing I'm also a little bit hesitant
And
about.
it's so hard to get a guy off the ball when he is,
Planted like a tree.
Yeah, when he's planted himself. And
Yeah, you
Jack
can't
would-
hit
Jack
him
would
high.
really well.
You can't hit him with your head.
Yeah.
You can't roll him there. There's this. It's
You just have to
tricky.
stand there and go,
Yeah, your ball.
yeah, yours.
You got there first. So yeah, croc rolls is one. The DuPont law being next is another.
Which
That's
I think
the one
most
where
people can agree on.
it just made the kicking battles look funny when guys were just standing there in the middle of the
Yeah,
field
yeah.
waiting to be played onside by the catcher running,
Yeah.
and then they would just
And
not
the,
run.
And the third one I know, they got rid of scrums altogether.
Exactly. No
No
more scrums.
ever.
And they're going to take 2 guys off the field, so it's going to be 13, and they're going to limit phases to 6.
6 tackles each. So like, I can understand the outrage because no more scrums. That's why there was so much outrage. I guess, I guess that was the law, wasn't it? Because there was so much outrage about 3 free kicks that happen every game. But like was that it? No more scrums?
No scrums from free kicks.
Oh, it's just free kicks.
When you get a free kick, you can only
free kicks.
choose to tap,
Yeah, right.
or you can choose to kick.
Cool.
And you can't call a scrum. Now, some people were saying, like, oh, how often does this happen? Because the one famous example from the World Cup was Damien Willems calling for the scrum from a mark. That virtually never happens.
Yeah, very, very rarely.
So that one is very much an exception. I thought that was a cool moment at the World Cup, but it's very much an exception.
Yes.
What happens a lot is scrum goes down, referee gives a short arm, and the team which
says we're going to scrum
got
again here.
let's just go again.
Yeah.
So there's not going to be no more of that. I feel like that's going to be the main change.
I don't see that many of those these days. Usually if the scrum goes
There's
down,
usually one at the start of the game.
you reckon they like give away like...
Yeah, the referee first time goes, don't do that again.
Yeah.
Or I'll penalise, yeah.
So it should just be a straight arm penalty then. And if you want to have a straight arm... If somebody infringes at the ruck, what's the difference between giving a penalty and a free kick? If you infringe at the ruck, it should be a penalty. And then you get down the pitch and you can think, well, I don't know. I don't understand why there would be that many free kicks, at scrums anyway. They really aren't. How many times a game does it happen, do you reckon, on
There's
average?
not that many free kicks per game. But the overall...
Two and three?
Overall feeling.
The Marbo of the thing?
The Marvo. A reference to an obscure Australian movie.
It's a great film. The Castle.
The Castle. It is a great movie.
Yeah.
So my read on it was a bit anti-scrum. And I love me a scrum. It was a bit anti-scrum. I believe Timmy from Egg Chasers also had... Well, I think he went a little bit of a step further. I think his thumbnail said, World Rugby hates scrums. Wildcard...
They've got rid of all of them! They're gone! At a funeral for scrums.
Wildcard was also not too chuffed.
I know.
So there's a few people who were saying, oh, but frickin' God.
They're gone! They're all gone!
And your reaction
God,
to that
I
was...
love them.
You seem to be thinking this is a little bit of an overreaction. That's not that big a deal.
Well, look, I have a different opinion, and people are totally entitled to their opinion.
Look, I read the comments of the video on my channel. A lot of people were like, "Bah!" Like
yeah, 100%. I've read comments as well.
I don't think I was quite like getting the pitchforks out. I was just, I felt like it just the marbo for me is that they're a bit anti-scrum, and they keep wanting to kind of legalize certain aspects of rugby, right?
Yeah.
A lot of the comments were a lot more extreme than that, but then some people were just like, I actually quite like these changes. I think they're all going to be good.
I didn't see many of those. I've seen
There's definitely a few.
Okay,
trust
that's
me.
good. Like I don't mind scrums. I do not mind scrums, and I think they're actually quite entertaining when one team's getting on top of the other team, and they battle back, and like the battle between the front row throughout a game, it can go one side, and you think this team's going to get dominated. It's a storyline in itself, and it can be really, really interesting. But I get really, really irritated and bored when I watch 16 resets and like middle of the pitch meetings between the front rows and going, look, we talked about this in the sheds. We need to get a tighter engagement. You guys aren't standing close enough together. And we've got like 20,000 people in the stadium, freaking hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people watching at home, watching these big lads just have a conversation and listen to a little white dude talk about it.
A former halfback who's like, here's how you scrum, boys.
And it's just slow. And like for me, like and some people just love it all, and they love all the scrums, and their whole teams are built around scrums, and it's great. That's fantastic. You can like that. For me personally, I am much more of a fan of the breakdown, jackling balls and running rugby. They're my favorite things about the game. You can have favorite things about the game, and if you favorite thing about the scrum, your favorite thing about the game is the scrum, sure, you'd be like, oh, that's 2 less scrums in a game. I wish we could have those 2 extra scrums. But I personally am like, okay, I actually like the idea of it just going like that and just a halfback tapping and then just chaos. The ball's out there and we're watching rugby again.
Yeah.
So I like the idea of that. I understand if you've got, an endearment towards scrums or anything like that. I really don't think it's going to have that much of an impact on the game. But the one thing that it's kind of I'm hearing over and over and over again, and I'm hearing it from people who clearly don't watch league.
Right.
Is they're turning it into league. I watch league. I watch league every week. It is so different. The scrum is not the defining feature. It is definitely one of the defining features of rugby. But I would argue the amount of players, the amount of phases, and the breakdown. That is the core amount of rugby. Like watching a game of rugby league is fantastic, but it can be like a great rock song. You kind of know it's like an intro, a bridge, a chorus, back to the verse, chorus, verse, chorus, and you're
It's gonna follow
it's gonna go. But a game of rugby is like watching a group of incredible musicians sometimes, and sometimes when incredible musicians play, that doesn't quite come right and it sounds a bit shit and it's a bit hard to watch. But when it is amazing, it can go anywhere and it can do anything and it's so invigorating and amazing to watch. And a scrum is it's a part of that, but just the span of the field that the rugby players can get around and where all the players can go. If you watch league, the same players are running up and down the same piece of pitch the whole game.
Right.
If you're a centre, you're not really moving too much. You're staying on that same line the whole game. So it's a lot more, there's a lot more collisions and all that sort of stuff. And I love that sort of stuff. And there is some great running plays and all that sort of shit. But it's so different. If you are making this argument that we're making it more like league, go watch some league. Like, it's a really fun game to watch. It really is. Go watch the State of Origin. That's a really good place to start. But it's a totally different game. Yes, the scrums are complete arse over there. It's just a place for people to actually go together and, congregate a little bit to open up a little bit more space.
At least it opens up a bit more space though, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Same as what it does in Union as well.
And one of the things that I like about this rule now as well is I'm a big fan of fatigue in rugby. I'm a big fan of guys getting buggered out there. And the little guys, we talk about it's a game for all shapes and sizes and all that sort of thing. One of the reasons it's a game for all shapes and sizes is because the big lads get tired and the little guys can take influence at those moments. And that's when you see some of those magic moments. Towards the end of the game, when a prop just can't make that tackle or a little guy eyes light up and they just get through a gap that they can't get through otherwise. It's not the end of the world. We're talking about maybe 2 or 3 scrums a game, if that. Like, I don't know. Have I ranted at you enough?
It's not bad.
Was it not a bad rant?
It was all right.
Okay.
It's a bit of
I'm still
logic
going to get a
there.
lot of hate for it, I'm sure. As far as do you think it's anti-South African? Do you think it's because the South Africans are just too good?
It just feels a little bit that way because how many teams have you seen call a scrum from a mark in their own 22?
One, but is
South
that the
Africa.
defining feature
No,
of
think,
South
like I said,
African rugby?
I think that was an exception rather than the rule. I think what they are trying to get rid of is those scrum, reset, free kick to you guys, don't do that again. They go again, they do the same thing, or now it's
in-game meeting.
Basically, yeah. Like, and I did see some of the kind of more moderate comments going like, look, I love scrums, but I flip and hate it when it's like reset 3 times and it takes all day. I just want to watch something else. Like,
it can take the air out of a game. Like, it's an
it
incredible
does.
attacking play. There's a knock on, and then we reset the scrum 3 times. You lost it.
One thing World Rugby does seem to be, they seem to have this idea that the only thing holding rugby back is that it's too slow. And that like it needs to be faster. And if it's faster, everyone's going to love rugby. I don't think that's right.
Why do you not think that's right?
Because there's plenty of sports which are stop-start. And that's not like, people aren't like, I would just wish this game were faster. Sure, some people are like, man, like the scrums are boring. Like some people are genuinely like that. At the World Cup, the main thing that people talked to me about was the TMO. Like people,
I've heard you go on about
that's just my anecdotal thing.
It is anecdotal.
It is absolutely anecdotal. There's no data behind it, but like my freaking GP, like a couple of randoms that I used to work with, as you go flaccid again.
We need new boom arms.
I don't. But honestly, nobody was like, Mark, I'm trying to watch the Rugby World Cup, but these scrums are driving me nuts. Zero.
But do you think part of the reason everyone spoke to you about the TMOs at the World Cup was because of the World Cup final? And
Maybe.
and like that was such a moment, like a huge moment for New Zealand. Like everyone got around their TV, even people who watch one game every 4 years. They were watching it and they were like, I used to watch rugby with my dad. I don't remember this guy in this box being so. It was this new foreign element that it wasn't there at all. But in terms of people that I speak to, we're just going on. People I speak to, some people say, it's the biggest bullshit argument you can make in anything. Is like I've often heard people go, I just can't stand the breakdowns. I know the breakdowns. I just can't stand the resets and all that sort of shit. And like I like speed. A quick
Yeah.
game's a good game, you know? And you look at some great sports out there. Gaelic football, incredibly fast. AFL, amazingly fast. NRL, still very fast. Game that is huge, not very fast, NFL.
Right.
You know, so that could be a counter argument. They like have a play like once every freaking 3 minutes that goes for 5 seconds.
Yeah, exactly.
So, you know, there's that argument too.
Yeah, so that's why I'm not necessarily sold. Like just given that rugby at the last World Cup, like the ball and play time was higher, the set piece numbers were lower, and like the fan numbers of viewers and everything were all through the roof. I'm not sure that just like what rugby absolutely needs is just more ball and play.
We can't.
I don't think ball and play. I don't think it's a direct relationship. Ball and play time high equals good game.
But I think it's definitely something for me. Like I want to watch more action. Like I want to watch people being.
But I mean, you could watch a ball and play game where it's just like pick and go, pick and go, pick and go, pick and go, pick and go. That's really high ball and play.
It's called rugby league. But and like I do like a quick game is a good game. You were saying something a moment ago that I triggered.
But ball and play time high doesn't necessarily mean a quick game. It just means more ball and play. That's what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
Like I also like a quick game. I love running rugby. I love tries.
Yeah.
But I don't necessarily
Love me
think
a
that
try.
high ball and play means quality.
I know. Okay. This is one thing that people going. Whoa, the scrums were one of the key parts of that World Cup, and they were so entertaining. We cannot judge the entirety of rugby over the most intense, high-level, stressful. People involved, people engaged. Like people would have watched, 80 minutes of scrums in that World Cup final if it was all scrums, and been on the edge of their seats and thought they had an amazing time because it was so intense and so amazing in terms of
It's
your
more when
investment.
you're watching your local comp
You're
on a
like-
Sunday.
Yeah, you're watching
thing.
your local stuff. Well, you're watching some Super Rugby, and it's like the reset scrum, you reset scrum, or you're watching NPC stuff, or you're watching schoolboy stuff. Like,
Yeah.
there's not that the stakes aren't there, but you need a good quality
Yeah.
product still.
Yes.
You know, if there aren't as many stakes, you're not going to get that sort of investment. You're not going to get that sort of engagement. So you need to make sure the product is really, really good.
Yes.
I think the product is a great product. It's a great product. I don't know. Maybe it's just a bit like every year we have a lot of. You mentioned on your video, but I do agree. We seem to have every year. There's like another 3 or 4 rules. There's a lot of tweaking.
Yeah, and that happens again. Like that's another one of the things that I got again from my anecdotal bullshit people. But basically, just like I thought that they couldn't do this, and I'm like, no, they changed that. I'm like, oh, what's this rule about this? Oh, they brought that in last year.
When did
Like,
they change the points?
Yeah, like people who haven't watched something for 3 years, and you're like, well, this is that. That's the 50-22. Like that's this new kicking thing, and they're like, oh, what the hell's that? You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of changes.
That's a league rule, and like the dropouts are pretty leaguey.
That's
now.
what I mean. Like that's
They are.
why I feel like there is this kind of leagueification to a degree going on, because they look at leagues ball and play and go ball and play high, good, NRL popular, do this, we will also get fans. I don't think it's necessarily like that one for one.
Do you think it's driven
Like I
by?
think Caterpillar rucks, as some people have pointed out, are worse than free kicks and scrums.
I hate Caterpillar
personally.
rucks. I do use the correct term if you're going to talk about them. Human centipede.
Human centipede rucks.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because they eat ass. All right. Did we have a robust debate then?
That was all right. Now, there are a few things which are not.
What we didn't. Okay, Kerry, I've got a question for you.
Okay,
You
go.
No, you go.
Okay.
You
So
were
there are a
in the middle
few
of your thing.
things which are not across the board. There are a few things which are World Rugby Run competition specific changes coming.
Oh.
20-minute red cards for some competitions, like
Love
the Pacific
it.
Nations Cup.
Love it.
Yeah, and
Love it.
There's a few changes because this was their meeting in May. They're also having another meeting in November, and some of the things they've got on the agenda are to review the TMO and when they should be getting involved. We've talked about it before. My preference is threshold for TMO should be quite high.
Yeah.
TMO should only be getting involved in balls up, tried, knocked it on, but the ref didn't see it. Maybe guy punched a guy, but the ref didn't see it. Like even that can wait till after the game, to be honest, if the guy can get away
So you're
with
not
it.
even okay. So I'm definitely
Like forward pass that was marginally forward 2 phases ago when there was no try score, just bugger off. Yeah, don't need it. Let the game flow.
tiny little minuscule knock-on that leads to a great try for a classic All Black Aaron Smith in a World Cup final that was set up beautifully. And
How
was
many
absolutely-
phases ago was it?
which was actually okay. That would be good. But
But
to be
yeah.
fair, the argument was that we scored 2 minutes later.
Yeah, there was another one where they're going to look at potentially, so this one's just on their agenda. So you know how malls...
Okay, I
you
disagree
get-
with you. I think I think they could be involved with any try scoring action, a phase up to it. But yeah, I think it's okay if they're involved with any yellow card or red card.
Okay.
Basically, like I think that's because yellow cards are pretty significant. You know, you have to be.
Right.
You have to have done something. You know, we've got to protect the head,
Okay.
dick, and
And
brain.
head. Yep.
Yeah. That
You done?
no dick shots.
No low blows.
Okay, go on.
Malls. This is just on their agenda. This is not any laws yet, but malls.
Get rid of them. I love them all. I love
Potentially,
them all.
and you know, it's like use it. No, sorry, no. That's once, and then that's twice. Now use it. It's just going to be that's once. Use it.
Love it.
That's going to be
Love it.
that's on the agenda.
Love it.
So no use it. No 2 calls. It's going to be 1 call, but that's not decided. They're going to.
It's a weird one though, isn't it? Because you see those line out scrums and they go, that's once, and then they get
a big shove on.
They get a bit of shove on. They get the momentum and
Yeah.
then they get up.
Yeah. So that one is on the agenda.
Yes.
And then also replacements. Like, what is the optimal number of replacements? It seems like they've got an eye on reducing the number of replacements.
Love it.
Someone, there's only one person I think in the comments suggested they should have 10 replacements.
What do they got now?
But you can now it's 8. Yeah, 10 replacements, but you can only choose like 3 or something. Kind of like football does it. You know, you got a bunch of replacements, you got to pick and choose.
Yeah.
I do
Who's
like
the right
the
man?
idea of like the strategy behind that. Like,
The right
ooh,
man for the moment.
do we bring on a prop or do we bring on this like gun outside back kind of thing?
I miss watching guys completely. Look, oftentimes guys are completely gassed at the end of rugby. It's a very tiring game.
Yeah.
But I like it when they're really, when it's every game, people are out on their feet. Like I remember playing, and you'd be in the last 10 minutes of a game, and you're just absolutely shattered. And you have no idea how you're getting to ruck speed, and you think it is. And when you're at schoolboy level, you'd ask the ref like, how much longer, and he'd say like, about 4 minutes, and he'd be like, oh god.
Yeah.
Because you couldn't see a clock. You had no idea.
No,
you were
that's
just
right.
waiting for a guy to blow a whistle, and you'd be like, "Oh God, I can get some hot chips."
Yeah, exactly.
You know? Yeah. Okay, that's interesting.
But yeah, none of those are set in stone yet. But basically,
Yeah, I
everything,
don't know about any of
everything that
those.
World Rugby, I think, put on the agenda for May, they've done. So these are the things that are on the agenda for November.
What I think World Rugby needs to do.
Although, no, the 20-minute red cards were on the agenda for May, but they didn't get across the board. They've just been in World Rugby competitions.
You know what I'd like to see World Rugby
Under
do?
20s and stuff.
As my microphone doesn't droop. I would like to see World Rugby open. This isn't even about the laws of the game or anything like that, but I would like to see them reverse a lot of their draconian rules around working with content creators like us. You know, like in terms of being able to advertise their product, get it in front of more eyeballs, engage with audiences that they wouldn't usually engage with. They are the most backward baby boomer Muppets that completely not ruined, but they really dropped the
At the
fumbled
World Cup, I think they just outsourced the content control to a company who
They fumbled the
specializes.
bag.
Yeah, they didn't keep it in house. I'm pretty sure they just gave it to a company who specializes in like
Being dicks.
in basically making sure nobody's using any of your footage ever. Like remember, Squidge got pinged for that at least once or twice during the World
and
Cup.
I think it was a great shame because his
Too much
content,
shooting yourself in the foot,
his
right?
content is amazing,
It's like
especially
the
at World
best
Cups.
ad for
Yeah,
rugby
yeah,
out there.
absolutely. You know, and I think his content is a certain type of person loves it, and then it's not even necessarily a rugby hardcore. Can
Yeah, that's
get into
right.
Squidger stuff because they can actually watch his content and be like, I've never actually
Notice that. I watch
noticed
his videos and I'm like, holy moly!
there are pods.
Yeah, exactly. I hate the pods. I can't be buggered looking for the pods. I mean, you can see them sometimes. You see where guys are standing,
Yeah,
but I
yeah.
don't take notes of
3,
like, well,
4.
this team always puts.
It's not as obvious as a football formation.
Yeah.
When they say it's a 3-4-3 and you're like,
Yeah.
this looks like a back line.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But I think a lot of it does, and he also does. He pulls on the heartstrings a little bit. He would have helped a lot of people. And the fact that they pulled that South African vid, Like, that was an absolute damn shame.
Yeah.
Because there was the World Cup in Japan. I think he got to just go carte blanche and cover whatever he wanted.
I think so, because he was
almost
working
like-
for them.
Yeah, he was almost like a protected species, and he could do whatever he wanted.
That's why I'm saying
And
I feel like the World Rugby people that he works with, this is just me speculating, like at the World Rugby social media team, didn't have anything to do with the copyright stuff, because I think they just outsourced it, and they were just like, if you see anything, just flog it. So that's what
and
they
like
did.
people like retweeting like amazing moments on Twitter. That is what sport and social media are meant to sort of intertwine.
Yeah, World Rugby's a bit backwards in that regard.
Yeah.
Sky Sports in New Zealand have been pretty bad for that as well. They're like, they are the ones.
That's ours.
Years ago, they would ping Squidge's videos because, like, he had 3 seconds of footage. Like, nope, not allowed.
I've never put any footage in any of my videos.
Good. Keep it that way.
Are you listening, Bill?
I think Bill got an award or something the other day.
Services to the internet.
Exactly. Some Super Rugby.
Oh, it was a great weekend.
It's a great weekend.
Far
If
out.
you're not watching Super Rugby, if you
Get
haven't
you.
skipped already, honestly,
Boy.
it's the best season in
Donkeys.
donkey's years. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, was it Saturday night? Oh, that was a great 2 back-to-back massive
2
clashes.
back-to-back New Zealand derbies, Blues,
That'll kill
Hurricanes,
your boner.
26,000 fans there.
Yeah, we good. We finally got some decent crowds, and boy, did
Yeah.
our media let you know about it.
Exactly.
But yeah,
They don't let you know the numbers when the
outstanding.
crowds are not great, but when there's more than
There is
20,000
18 people here today.
Exactly.
At
John.
FMG Stadium. There's Mark. Mark, we were going to have 17. He was going to bring his son, but he decided to play Nintendo Switch
Yeah,
instead.
exactly.
But no, there was. Where do you want to start?
Top of the table clash,
Oh,
Blues, Hurricanes.
Test match intensity.
Afternoon game.
Oh, we've had some crack. Like, it's getting cold. It's getting cold. But
The mornings are brisk, but the days are beautiful.
Oh, it's great golf weather.
Oh, is that?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. It's been.
Never played golf in my life, but I did play mini golf for Mother's Day.
Oh, really?
My brother's idea was we'll take the
Take
the old girl and the old boy out to mini golf
How'd it
in
go?
the city for some reason,
Oh, yeah.
down by the waterfront.
Oh, yeah. The
Holy moly.
near Parnell.
Yeah,
You come down Parnell
just down by
Horizon
the
off there.
waterfront.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, how was it fun?
It was all right.
You don't look like you had a good time.
It seems like a odd place to go to play mini golf.
Well, there's mini golf all over the shop.
Exactly. There's a lot better places to play than the middle of town.
Why are you such an old grumpy
Because I had to
bastard?
drive up to the 6th floor of a parking building.
Oh, that must have been really tough.
It
for
was
you.
tough.
You bring the kids,
I had to bring the kids, of course.
and then they were whinging.
They weren't whinging. I was whinging.
Why are we going here? Bloody. What's your brother's name?
Scott.
Scott. What an asshole.
You know what was
Like
funny?
I'm channeling Heath here.
I had like I had a good moment. Like, I never hunt for car parks. Like, if the sign says there's 2 car parks that way, I'm like, screw you, I'm going higher. Like, I just went straight to the 6th, and there were tons of car parks on the 6th.
But then you're walking down, you're like, oh.
Well, there's an elevator, but
Okay, yeah,
so I'm really whinging about nothing. But
Wow.
when my brother got there, apparently, like, he and my sister-in-law were like, "Oh, is there a spot?" And then they would like drive around, and by the time they would get there, it would be taken. And my mum was in their car, was just like, "For God's sake, just go higher," like just keep going up. Like, why are you hunting when there's only 2 spots? When if you keep going, there'll be guaranteed spots.
So she had the.
She's in my camp for like the park finding method.
But it's interesting. She's not a prick like you, though. But
I get the car park finding side, but also the prick finding side.
Oh, yeah.
Also, calling the car park a car park is also a uniquely New Zealand thing, I believe.
what do they call it? Space.
Yeah, parking space. The car park is the building, or like the
Like
lot.
it's like a park of cars.
Yeah, but not the actual spot. Like
Really?
in New Zealand, we call the individual place, like that's my car park, right?
Are you sure?
Yes, because Viva La Dirt League did a video about it, and everyone was like, "Do you guys call that whole thing, like the individual spot, a car park?" Yeah, the rest
I'm
of the
looking for a
world-
park. People don't say that anywhere else.
If it's the actual like whole lot, yes,
Parking spot.
yeah, spot or space, but not car park. The car park is just the bigger thing,
I've
not the individual.
lived overseas and I've never noticed this. And I would have said, can you find a park? Anywhere around there to park?
Then maybe can you find a place to park? Yes.
What do you just go, oh, I don't want to go there parking shit. What did you say then?
I don't know.
What were we talking about? We're talking about rugby.
We were.
How good was Super Rugby?
Super Rugby was great. I found a car park.
And the basking sunshine. It
Yes,
was great.
in Auckland.
Yeah. We've had some great.
It was
great.
tit for tat.
Yeah, yeah,
We were in the
yeah.
lead. They were in the lead. TJ got a try.
Can
He
I
had a
just-
bad haircut.
Punch and counter punch. Just
There
said
you
the
go.
exact same thing you said in a different way. Yeah, that's the quality
That's
content
why
you
you
get on.
listen to this podcast.
Gets distracted. But no, it was great to see. Hoskins to Tutu was amazing. Plummer, the Neverman, played very well.
His goal kicking used to be genuinely awful. Like there's not many guys that I would look at goal kicking and go, give him a run for his money, but he used to be that bad.
He used to be a B grade, B plus grade.
He was like a sub who might come on at 10, might
you'd be
come
like,
on at
"Oh,
12.
God,
and you're like, oh, God, Plummer's taking the kick to win it. No.
But I'd like him to kick for my life
100%,
right now.
man. He was 100% from the tee.
And he defended well. That try that stop that he did on Ruben
yeah.
Love in the corner.
Caleb Clark got a try-saving tackle,
Yeah,
and
some great
Plummer got a
tries.
try-saving tackle. It was barnstorming game.
Freaking what's his name? Oh God, halfback scored the most tries of all time.
TJ Perenara.
TJ Perenara. He's looking pretty sharp.
My mum doesn't like him.
What? Your mum?
Yeah, she said, damn, I don't like him. I was like, what?
He's
Like,
very
arrogant. I
He's
was
very.
like, oh, wow.
He is very lippy, eh?
Yeah, I halfback, I guess.
well,
Kind
it's
of comes
gotta
with the
be.
territory.
It's got to be.
Yeah.
I don't mind the look of Funaki at number 9
Oh,
for
he's
the Blues
great.
as
He's
well.
looked better than Christie did.
Where's
for
Christie?
sure.
Is he injured?
Yeah.
Oh, right.
I hope he stays
Funaki's
injured
looking
because
good.
Funaki's been playing.
When Perifetta comes back, where do you put him?
Yeah, it's a good question.
Put him to number 15 because they just lost Arn Sullivan?
Maybe, yeah. But then Cole Forbes has been playing the house down as well.
Cole Forbes, I think, has looked pretty good as an impact player, to be honest.
But he's been starting the last few weeks when Sullivan's been out. He's been all right.
Yeah.
Blues top of the table, folks.
And went to
good
the
times.
very end of the game. Like, we're talking a lot about
We
the
were
Blues because
defending
we're
on the line at the death. It was...
and we just ripped it out of their hands.
Yeah, exactly. It was Sam Knock got
Yeah.
the turnover at the end.
It was massive.
Great stuff. If you
Really,
haven't watched the
really.
highlights, please go watch it. It was great.
It was a cracking game. And then there was a bloody cracking game straight on afterwards.
Crusaders.
Different end of the table, but it felt
Highlanders who were sitting
pretty
in
good quality.
7th, which is still a playoff spot out of 12 teams. Crusaders just out of it. If they get a win, then they're going to potentially
Give
get
themselves a
themselves
really good
into
chance.
the playoffs. Highlanders haven't beaten New Zealand team for like 3 years.
21 games.
21 games.
I think it's 21
Unbelievable record. They just can't beat New Zealand teams.
They're a bit like any Australian team. And before this year, to be fair. Before this year.
The Blues were like that for a while.
Yeah,
there was a while
yeah.
where we just couldn't beat New Zealand teams.
Yeah,
the Highlanders have been like that, but then they beat the Crusaders 32-29.
And it was another great
And
game.
that guy Cam Miller, the young number 10, just kept kicking penalties and scored a try. It was great.
Yeah, it was lovely. Yeah, it does look wet
And
behind
the
the ears.
Crusaders actually had a couple of their big guys. They had Tamati Williams back. They had Cody Taylor back.
Cody Taylor made an impact.
Yeah, exactly.
Tamati Williams, what, he put in like 38 minutes?
Something like that, yeah.
Before, I think one of the bright sparks for the Crusaders this year has actually been George Bauer. He came on at that point. He looks all right. He looks like he's trying hard. But every week you're kind of going, it's the Crusaders. They can do this.
Exactly.
They've lost to the Force.
They've lost to the Force,
They lost
yes.
to the Drua. They beat the Rebels? Didn't they beat the Rebels?
I think they beat the Rebels. Yes, they did. They flogged them.
They beat the Rebels and they beat the Chiefs.
That's right, at home.
And they've lost to everybody.
Everybody else. Literally everybody else. The Crusaders, at the moment, are sitting
It's
in the
insane.
11th out of 12 teams.
Yeah.
They have 14 points, but 17 points would get them. Well, 17 points is the team in the playoffs. That's the draw.
And they got one of the best, and one of New Zealand's best.
So they're only one
midfielders
win.
at number 10
They're
at the
only
moment.
one win from getting into the playoffs, which still seems ridiculous when you're literally 2 wins
The
out of
Drua,
11
if they won
games.
this weekend, that would have given them grief. But the Drua
Yes, but the Drua didn't. But the Crusaders' next couple of games
aren't easy.
are Brumbies away,
Yes.
Blues at home,
Boom.
and then they've got Moana Pacifica at home. So they've got potentially one guaranteed win. Maybe even nowadays, the Moana Pacifica's above them, so not even guaranteed. But one kind of easy game, and then 2 games against teams in the top 3.
They almost need to win 3 out of 3, don't they?
Well, they're only a few points behind 8th, so not
But
really.
everybody else plays those teams too.
I suppose so.
You know,
but I mean,
so-
if the Drua,
If they win 1 out of those 3, they're not going to make it.
probably not. They need to either beat us or the Brumbies.
Oh, geez.
Not looking likely right now. Please don't let them make the 8. I've just got this thing.
Oh, no.
This nightmare
Don't say
scenario.
Don't say it. This is how damaged we are. This is
Blues
how
1, Crusaders 8,
And
come
then
to
they beat
Eden
it.
Park and they just knock us out. I can see it. It's happened before. Well,
that would kill me. That would crush me. Honestly, that would be too much. Too much for me if that was the case.
Yeah.
Get dog roll back.
yeah.
It would be.
There were other games.
But to be honest, like they don't look like a good team. Like they look. They obviously have lost to a lot of teams.
Yeah.
They don't. They're trying hard.
Sevi Reese looks really good.
Yeah, Sylvia Reese looks really good. Thomas Tino. The I see his name completely wrong. The winger for the Fijian winger for
The Highlanders? Tavatava Nawai?
Yeah, exactly what I said. Tavatava Naiwai.
Timothy Tavatava
Timothy,
Nawai.
by the way.
Is it? Oh, because it's a C as a TH.
yeah,
Timothy.
Yeah.
Tavatava
Like
Nawai.
South Knock'em Book.
Fijian has a few.
Yeah.
Like there's a missing N, there's an invisible N in some
Okay,
of those names.
okay.
Yeah,
But
it's
anyway,
supposed to be you
he
getting distracted. This is the Fijian Language Podcast.
Brought to you by South Knock'em Book. Joe Rokothogo. But no, what was I going to say before you took me down this?
Sevi Reese is looking good.
Reese looks good. But he's a small man, and when he's surrounded by players, he's going to beat one, but he's going to get. He might
Right.
be two, but he's going to get taken. But if you put him in space, he's electric. He's amazing.
Yeah.
But they just don't seem to have enough go forward and enough attacking penetration. Like they just don't look like a threat. They were trying so hard throughout that whole game. They were putting everything into it, but they just don't look that dangerous. They're not a dangerous,
I remember
scary
their try scoring numbers are pretty low.
Yeah, they just
And like a lot of them are Sevi Reese. Like without him, I think they're probably last.
Yeah. He's putting himself in the All Black picture.
For sure.
But
Even though he's at that age where we start going, we're doing the Leonardo DiCaprio, you're a bit old.
yeah, exactly. So
27, Jesus.
But they haven't had a 10 all year. Well, they've had Ho Hipper, now they've got David Havili.
Yeah.
Who did they bring on at the end to go in?
Yeah, the other guy.
Oh, great.
Ray Hunter.
Yeah, it might have been. There you go. Almost got you. Drummond is only playing a bit part now at number 9.
Yeah. Their injury list. So one of the Crusaders fans, I think, said last week we didn't give enough attention to how bad they're in. Like they haven't had Cody Taylor, because Cody Taylor actually took the sabbatical. I'm not going to play.
Non-playing sabbatical.
Yeah, which is rare these days. We talked about it the other time about how that's what it used to be with McCaw and Carter and whatnot. But everyone else these days just goes, give me the ching.
Yeah.
Cody Taylor actually took non-playing sabbatical.
And he played really well on the weekend.
Tamati Williams has been injured since round 1. They've got no Will Jordan this season. Like they've who's their number 10? Fergus Burke. Like they've had so many guys not available.
That's rugby.
It is rugby. They've probably had it a bit worse than
Race
some
as the
others.
coach, are they in the top 8? With the same,
I think so.
you've got to say.
Yeah, he's always been able to get more out of the team. Like he took that Todd Blackadder Crusaders team, who'd constantly been in the playoffs and made finals and
couldn't
stuff,
quite make it.
and just took them to the next level. So that's what he
it's quite
does.
incredible. You know what's irritating about the 7-year stretch that they had? Before that, they were already probably the most successful Super Rugby franchise.
And they just
team.
got more successful.
And then
I had
this
to
year-
explain to my son the other day. I was like, son, the Blues have won Super Rugby 3 times.
Yeah.
The Hurricanes have won once, the Highlanders have won once, and the Chiefs have won twice. That's 7, son. The Crusaders, son, because he was like, I want the Crusaders to win when we were watching the Highlanders game. I was like, the Crusaders have won it for 7 years in a row, son. 7 years. I was like, do you know who won Super Rugby last year, son? He's like, who? The Crusaders. The year before that? He's like, who? Crusader. We just did that game.
My daughter has not lived in a world where the Crusaders were not the.
My daughter is the same.
Super
My son
Rugby
has had
champions.
1 year. 1 year of his life. When he was still in
Stop
nappies.
the tyranny!
Exactly. Down with the Crusaders.
Imagine if they somehow beat Arsenal and pull out 3 Arsenal wins. And like, honestly, I can see a world where it happens.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
we
Sit there and take it. Like,
we
oh,
sit
gosh.
there and we put a camera in ourselves and we just cry for an
Exactly.
hour. And people go, that's that podcast.
Exactly. There were other games. The Chiefs flogged Moana Pacifica
Didn't watch it.
43-7. The Reds kind of scraped past the Rebels 26-22. That was scrappy.
The Reds, yeah.
Rebels have been in kind of patchy form. And
But it was
Reds-
another game that went down to the
Yeah,
wire.
it was a good game.
Yeah,
But like going into it, it's like Reds are in pretty good form, Rebels, not so much. Reds are at home. They should. This one kind of in a canter. The Reds are in this weird position where they're 5th.
Yeah.
They're like not quite up with the Chiefs. There's quite a few points between them and the Chiefs. But there's like quite a few points between them and the Rebels below them. They're like in this weird spot where like you're like the Reds, they can beat anybody, but they can also cock it up.
And they beat the bloody. They ran one of
The games that they've lost have been in like overtime and stuff.
one of the best games of the year. They
Hurricanes won.
Well, they beat the Hurricanes, but then
But didn't they lose to the Hurricanes in overtime?
No, that was to us. Oh no, was it overtime? I don't know. They lost a heartbreaker to us.
Yes.
Yeah.
I thought they lost to the Hurricanes in like Golden Point.
I know the Hurricanes.
The Brumbies beat the Hurricanes.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
So they ran.
But then they lost to Moana Pacifica.
Yeah.
So that's what I mean. They're all over the shop.
Yeah. Well, that's just a week where they go in and they take it for granted.
Maybe.
Obviously. But I think they could still be a dangerous.
For sure. Nobody's going to want to draw them. Waratahs lost to the Brumbies. Both teams were wearing white. 29-21.
They were wet.
Honestly.
It was a wet t-shirt contest and white shirts.
Goodness sake. Super Rugby's been doing this for years. Who's the, like, they don't have...
It was Indigenous round, but, like, they could have...
Culture round. Like, honestly, they need some kind of, like, policy. Like, all your away kits...
I love it when you do this under your glasses.
Like, just make it that, like... I mean, I guess the Brumbies wear white, so like everyone needs to have an away kit which is white, except the Brumbies who needs to be black or something like that.
Just a bit of forethought, just saying, okay, when we design this shirt, we've actually got them this weekend.
Just
let's
like
make
you said,
it
just a little bit of forethought. It's not hard.
Yeah, and like let's just make sure we get the designer to design this beautiful shirt. Like they were lovely shirts.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
It's almost like I feel like it's just
they're both wearing navy, exactly the same shorts.
Exactly, the exact same shorts. It seems like they just let all the teams do their own thing, and then they just show up and go, we're wearing this shirt today. Like, oh, okay. Like Hurricanes come to the Blues and like, we're wearing black today.
I guess like in any business, there's always things that happen, and then you go, oh, I should have really thought about that.
Yeah.
Because there's so many things you got to be over. There's so many things you're running. There's so many logistics, administrations, pay.
Everything's more complicated than what it looks.
Yeah, and then you're like, there's one little detail. And then it comes to the fore, and then that's what the public sees, and you're like,
how did you cock that up? What are you guys thinking?
We had to communicate with the Brumbies about Indigenous round. Like we've both got our jerseys never really clash.
Yeah,
like
we've got a corporate agreement that we have to wear it this round.
Yeah,
we've already promised them.
I would never actually think that So I can see that would.
Yes,
it was just a muck up.
And it was just a muck up, but it happens too much.
Really? How often do you see that
every Super Rugby season it happens. I've been doing Super Rugby videos since 2018.
I've been covering more Super Rugby games than you've had hot dinners.
There was 1 year where the Blues home kit was light blue and our away kit was dark blue. Like they're both blue, you morons. And we went to Cape Town and played the freaking Stormers who wear blue. Like, what's your problem, you stupid idiots? For God's sake. You need to pick a different colour.
Why don't you get like this in front of the whiteboard?
Oh, for God's sake. It's just so stupid. I just don't understand
I'm happy with them doing it just to see you have a breakdown. Honestly.
It happens every year. They still haven't learned. I just don't understand it. It doesn't make sense to me. It's not hard. Even my kids know colours.
My cheeks are getting sore.
Okay,
so
then they played a game of rugby and it rained a lot. It was a waterlogged pitch.
And it was a good game.
It was a good game.
They were all good games.
They were good. Well,
but it was one thing I noticed about the I'll talk about the rugby for a second, just to stop you in the middle of your nervous breakdown.
Sorry.
One thing I noticed was the Waratahs look really, really great with their penetrative attack from deep, and they could cut them open.
Yeah.
But the Brumbies just scramble really well, and then defend their line like demons. Whereas the Brumbies were a little bit more traditional the way they made down the field, but then they were just the Waratahs just let in soft tries.
Yeah, some of their tries really soft.
Really soft.
And that's been the story of their season, sadly.
Just a little bit of attitude on deep.
Yeah.
It's just as easy as that, guys.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Give this man the job.
I would have gone out there with a positive and can-do attitude. I would have stopped
Coleman
them
and
all.
put Tony in charge.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's right.
The last one was the Force, who are pretty good at home.
Yes.
They've beaten the Reds at home. They've beaten the Crusaders at home. They're not very good on the road.
No.
And then they played the Drua, who genuinely haven't won a game all season on the road.
Who are okay at home.
Yes.
Almost like
So it's like they're good at home, they're bad away.
And they absolutely pumped them.
48-10.
And like it was actually
That was the best rugby I think I've ever seen the Western Force play.
The Drua were looking all right in the second half, and they were coming back into it 17-10 or something like that.
Yeah.
But then they just ripped the lights out of them. You know who I'm really enjoying watching for the Force?
Ben Donaldson.
Yes, Ben Donaldson.
Curtly Beale.
Beale.
Oh, yeah, he was electric.
His passing game.
You know, when they signed him, I was like, geez, the Force like signing these old buggers. Like, they love a guy at the kind of like the golden end of his career. And it's like he cashes the paycheck, but then he's been really good.
Ben Donaldson and Curtly Beale.
Yeah.
Sneakies for the Wallaby squad. Joe Schmidt was in attendance.
Yes, he was.
Yeah, like what he puts it on it.
I know.
He puts
Beautiful.
it on a like
Pretty
you can just
beautiful.
get him in the midfield just doing that sort of stuff. He hasn't got that. He's not a slouch.
No.
But you
Doesn't have the acceleration he used to have.
But
he's
that's this is what you see in the NRL, because it's a great game that we should make our game more like. But what you see is these old guys play in their mid-30s,
Right.
who are playmakers.
Right.
And when they come in, like Sean Johnson, whatnot, even the Warriors haven't been going so well, but they'd come in and they'd have electric footwork, incredible pace. But just as they get older and they really stretch them out to like 36, 37, all that sort of
Right.
thing, they just turn it into like incredible passers and playmakers.
Right.
And they don't have that same agility and speed or anything like that, but they're still incredibly valuable.
They can probably read the game better than they could when
We
they were
don't do
youngsters.
that so much in rugby union, but like I think there is a space for those
role for
players, those guys who just know the right strings to pull at the right time, who play with a huge amount of intelligence and have seen it all before.
That was Johnny Sexton, wasn't it?
Yeah. 100%.
He was
That's right.
he was like stuck in the mud when he was running.
100%.
But boy, could that guy pull the strings of a back line.
100%. And that's a rarity, like a guy playing for that long. But there's no reason why they can't.
It's true.
Because, get them to, they kind of have that idea of like a playmaker should be able to play in a dinner suit.
Right.
Like they're not there to get freaking hammered.
Pummeled, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, Super Rugby's been very entertaining.
What have we got this week, though?
Hurricanes are playing Moana Pacifica, so that should be a romp home for the Hurricanes.
Sorry, I'd love to like go. It would be nice to be like, whoa.
Moana Pacifica started the season with a little bit of like,
maybe.
No, not really.
Getting
But I mean,
worse.
they're 10th.
They're
So
not
they're
last.
ahead of the Crusaders and they're ahead of the Waratahs.
Okay. Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Good for them.
Rebels are playing the Chiefs at home. So the Rebels are home in Melbourne.
Rebels, it's going to be, I think they'll probably be in it for about 60 minutes before the Chiefs run away with it.
Drua are hosting the Reds. No, just in the scheme of things for the Drua, like I said, like
It's a
on
huge
17
game.
points, bro, they need some points because
If you're
even though the Crusaders lost, they got a losing bonus point, so they at least are closing the gap between them and the playoffs.
and the Reds are coming right.
I mean, the Force won a game, so
Reds are used to hot weather too. Not quite as hot.
yeah.
I'm going to go the
I
Drua.
feel like the Drua beat them at home last year, but yeah.
I'm going to go the Drua at home.
Brumbies home play the Crusaders.
It's hard, eh? Because every week you just go...
On form, you should
Just like Brumbies.
You're
It
picking
should be
number
like- 3
against number 11.
Yeah,
Like,
and we
that
should just be like the Moana Silver, like, and like,
Yeah,
they're like
oh,
that.
well, they're gonna get flogged,
but
but
you just,
it's like-
it's just this thing in the back of our minds, like, it's the Crusaders.
Yeah, they could still win.
They could do it.
They could come
They
right
could
at any
do it.
moment.
Yeah, they've hurt me so much.
Yes, exactly.
But I'm going to go Brumbies.
Yeah, Blues are hosting the Highlanders.
It'd be a good tight tussle, but we should win it by more than 30 points.
And then
Which
also,
is not that
with
tight.
the playoff race, the Force, who are good at home,
Yes.
are hosting the bottom place Waratahs. So the Force win, they get into the playoffs, but it depends on what happens with other results.
Yeah.
But they could pass the Drua if the Drua lose to the Reds. So there's a lot for them to still fight for.
Wow. Tars didn't look that bad in the weekend.
Yeah. Tars are real patchy
Yeah, and the Warriors.
Even within
And
one-
where is it being played, sorry?
in Perth.
I give it a Force then, eh? If they can take that form.
The only team the Waratahs beaten is the Crusaders
You know
twice.
what's good though? A lot of times, I remember last year, I'd make these calls and I'd be like, But this is what's
Easy.
gonna. These are.
Yeah.
I'm not a gambler, but I felt very very comfortable
Confident,
with my
yeah.
calls. And then they were usually pretty damn spot on.
Yeah.
But all these, I'm like,
There's a bit of doubt.
yeah, just like
maybe,
maybe,
yeah, which is what it should be. Which is what it should be.
You know, it's good. It's good stuff.
Yes.
Anything else happening? in
Did
the
you
world
watch
of
any other rugby?
Did
you watch
women's
anything?
rugby? The Black Ferns absolutely spanked
The
USA.
US, yes.
Didn't watch it. Heard about it.
I watched the second half.
What happened? Anything of note happened in the URC?
Leinster had lost 2 games in a row because they had fielded their B side because they were saving the A side for the Champions Cup. And when they played their A side, they beat these boys, the Ospreys, 61-14.
Yeah.
That game was 14-all for a while, and then it wasn't.
Yeah, it seems that way. Oh god, that's
Yeah, they flogged
that's
them.
a fair few points.
There's the URC's also got... It's got
45 points. They just slammed on them.
Yeah, basically.
Holy.
There's a real race in the URC for like, it's similar to Super Rugby in terms of those last few playoff spots. There's a few teams like the Lions, Connacht, I think the Ospreys, Benetton. There's a few of them kind of in the hunt, and only a couple of them can make it, and a couple of them are gonna miss out. But yeah, the Bulls won.
When
I
are we
watched the Stormers play the Dragons. That one was tight for a while, and the Stormers, who had just been playing rubbish, were just like, hey, maybe we should play good and catch the ball now. And they were
that's
like,
good.
oh, let's do that. And then they
That's what I'd
flogged them.
say if I was a coach. Play good and catch the ball.
Yeah, so they beat them 44-21.
Scarlet. Where are they? Let's see. Welsh team. What are they?
The Scarlets are awful. All the Welsh teams, barring the Ospreys, are doing pretty badly. The Scarlets lost.
How my team Munster going?
Munster are doing incredible. They started the season awful. I think they've won 7 games in a row now because they don't have Champions Cup rugby to worry about. They're focusing all on the URC. They beat Connacht 47-12.
I've done a lot of thumbs up.
They-
Tell me when because I'll watch finals.
There's 2 rounds left of the regular season.
Yes.
And then it's playoffs time.
Nice.
So
Okay. When do we got the Champions Cup final?
26th of May, 1:45 in the morning, our time. You'll watch it delayed. I'll be watching that one live, but just so you know, Champions Cup organisers, that time sucks.
And I know you're thinking about the New Zealand audience.
Exactly.
That's a huge market. Huge market. There's 6 of us down here.
1:45 in the morning.
Woo!
That's too late for me to stay up, but too early
Because
for
if
me
it was
to
like
get up.
11:45, you'd be like,
I'll just stay up.
I'll have a late night.
Yeah. If it was 4 in the morning, I was like, oh, geez, I'll just get up. I'll go to bed really early. But 1:45 is just awful.
Because you go to bed, you have a power nap.
You can only power nap, and then you're pretty much obliged to go back to sleep after 2 hours of watching rugby.
And then it's sort of that weird sort of not.
The sun's
wee
probably...
smalls.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know.
And then your kids are going to wake you up half an hour later.
Basically.
And then you
sucks. It's
you
going to be a crap
And
day.
then you should go shoot yourself in the nuts. It would have been much nicer to go to bed at like 2 in the morning.
It would have been.
Dreams.
There's one result which I haven't seen, but it happened in the Premiership. Northampton against Gloucester. I'll give you a clue. It was a big scoreline.
Are we talking record scoreline?
Pretty big scoreline.
Mate, it was a game, I've got to guess it.
Yeah. Club rugby kind of scoreline.
Did we get six figures?
It was not quite 3 figures, but
Not-
it wasn't that far away.
I'm going to say 89-3.
You're close. It was 90-0.
Ooh.
Now that is...
Oh, actually, I think I saw something on Twitter when they were getting absolute pans.
And they went for a penalty and they missed it, I think. I didn't see the
Who
game.
did they play, sorry? It was who?
Northampton against Gloucester.
That is an absolute outrage.
I don't know what happened there. I didn't see it, sorry.
That's
But that shouldn't be happening in professional league. Like, even the top Super Rugby team doesn't beat the bottom Super Rugby team by that much.
holy smokes.
Someone explain to me what happened because I haven't seen it.
I remember the Crusaders.
Super Rugby used to have those scorelines way back in
Crusaders
the
beat
day.
the Reds in the 90s one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They talked about that. All the players
it-
were like, that was just one of those games where every pass was just a winner.
And
like
the-
every tackle was broken kind
And
of
the
thing.
Reds just were
Like
just-
everything went wrong for one team, everything went right for the other.
Maybe that was what happened.
Maybe.
Northampton, eh? Wow.
Sorry, Gloucester.
Why did they go for the penalty?
I don't actually know. I
Just
just
to spare
I
the-
think I saw something on Twitter that was like they go for the penalty to kind of spare the
Yeah.
embarrassment and they miss it. If that
Embarrassing.
didn't happen, I'm sorry.
Oh well. And that's rugby for another week, yeah?
Yes.
Anything else of note?
I think that's pretty much it.
Yeah, and make sure you tell us about your strange games you played at school. We're interested.
You ever play You Show Me Yours, I'll Show You Mine?
We played it after every episode of this. Exactly. He shows me his arsehole, I show him my dick.
But why? But why?
This is on your channel.
It's on my channel.
Yeah.
Anyway.
You know what?
By the way,
Okay, I won't say what I'm about
I
to say.
recently did a 2 Cents on Tour video.
And you made
You haven't seen it because you didn't comment.
Oh, hold on. I sent the thumbnail, and the thumbnail is I am poor.
Yeah, this is literally this security guard. I ran into him, right?
Oh, was that racist the way I did the impression?
Yes, it was very racist. I ran into this guy, and I asked him in Chinese, like, what's that tower behind you? And he just gives me this real dismissive answer in Chinese, like, it's just a tower. It's not open yet. Like, basically telling me, get out of here.
Bugger off.
And then he just started speaking English. Like, in small town China.
Oh, really?
It'd be the equivalent of going, like, to Rotorua.
Someone
Someone just speaks French. Like a security guard who's not French, just speaks French. Like, not great French, but passable French.
Yeah.
Like, the dude just spoke English for some reason. He's like, I'm really poor. I only earn 2,400 yuan a month, which is like $400 American. Which is not a lot of money.
It's about 800 New Zealand.
Something like that. That's not a lot of dosh.
Not a huge amount.
Not a huge amount, no. I mean, it's livable in China, but to put it for context, I worked in China when I was 21 years old in like 2005. I was on 3,000.
Right.
That's a long time ago.
What was he on again, sorry?
2,400.
Okay.
Oh, no,
right.
2,600.
So you're on something similar when inflation,
20 years ago.
and you were qualified to be a toilet cleaner at the time.
Basically. I just graduated university.
Well, you had a degree.
I don't know if he's got a degree, but he speaks English. So check that out. It was a good chat. It was random.
Yeah.
But he was like, I'm really poor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought I saw the thumbnail. I
Yeah.
was like, I'll get to it, Mark.
It's 30 minutes long, so...
Oh, really?
It's a slog. I tried to keep it simple. My initial edit was 37 minutes, and I cut it down.
Dude, I've got a little bit of time on my hands over the next little while.
You want to edit one of my videos?
Yeah, let me make one of your videos super weird. We'll do a 2 cents.
What if, like, that's the one video that goes really popular?
2 cents on tour, the distracted edit. Who wants to see it? You know, we're probably not going to get any comments on that because it's right at the end of the video.
And everyone's already switched off.
Well,
but if you stayed, you're a champ. I appreciate you.
And boy, you look good in that shirt. You really
Or
do.
not shirt, if you're hot. Because...
Maybe we're arousing enough for that person needed to take their shirt off.
Oh, sweaty. Goodness gracious.
Holy.
All right, come on. You're going to show me yours.
Right.
I'll show you mine.
Yes, fantastic.
All right, take care, folks.
Hi-da-da.